So when it compares to the union sector and the non-union sector, like how does it differ when we're talking about, maybe market share and the complete like workforce or and even the training? Like how does that vary from one side to the other?
The non-union side, they don't receive any education other than in-field training in Alberta. If they want to train their people, they either send them down to the States where there's a school, or they send them to Toronto where there's a school. There's been a few different schools pop up in Ontario, and it's like whack-a-mole. They come up and they go back down again. As far as I know, and dealing with my students that have gone through those programs, they don't hold a candle to what we provide for education. Because of our numbers are so small within the building trades, and we're that niche little market, there's not enough seats for the government to hold a program. We were involved a few years ago with the PAC, which was a special committee with the provincial government to help them create a program. It's not that we don't want to help them or they don't have anything, it's just all about numbers. And we're about 93% market share in Alberta.
It's very safe to say that they will be union and stay union till the very end of their career.
Once you're a union elevator constructor, it's 99% secure that you're there until you choose to leave or retire.
Going back to the apprenticeship program, and you were saying there was a small number.
We do try to sit on different committees. I've sat on the PAC committee. Our manager and president in Edmonton, they've sat on the PAC committee. We sit on there as labor and try to assist the government in providing what we need for industry for training. With that, we have gone to see Nate and Sate and looked at other trades and picked apart pieces of other trades that apply to our trade and put together a package for them so they could have a program. So I sit on the Safety Codes Sub-Council for Alberta. We're very active in code adoption and anything to do with safety in Alberta. We try to make sure that we're sitting on all those committees. So we try to be active with any government programs and councils and committees that are going on. And we always make sure we have representation there, not just for ourselves and for our members, but also for the riding public. So we're always concerned about making sure the riding public has the safest elevators possible. The unions are really, we're really committed and we're really funding in education for our members. We offer advanced and continuing education for our journeymen. We have sign-up sheets at every meeting where anybody that's interested in coming in and upgrading their learning and their, what they know. Maybe there's stuff going on in our program they didn't learn 10 years ago. We offer that upgrade training to anybody.
Obviously the pension is one thing you said you would like to give more information on. Going back to the pension then, there's a few things that you wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so with our pension that we have, it's funded across Canada. It's a multi-employer pension program. It's registered in the province of Ontario because that's where the majority of our members reside, and that's a requirement of the registration. It is a joint funded program, meaning the employer pays in, we pay in, and those numbers are negotiated during bargaining for our collective agreements. So we can adjust those numbers accordingly, and that would affect our hourly rate. So if we're paying a few dollars an hour and there's an increase on the table, we can pay less pension or we can take more on wages. The other thing is normal retirement age is 65. We have an early retirement program where you can retire as early as 55. A few years back, there was a couple improvements made year after year to lower that number down to 58. So 58 is the number where there's no penalty, and that's with 22 years of consecutive service immediately prior. Now you can go at 55, but there is a penalty there. But 58 is your unreduced number if you had 22 years. We have to meet a magic number of 80, which is part of the regulation in Ontario.
What do you mean the magic number of 80?
Like years of experience plus your age. So at 60, you can have 20 years. At 59, you have to have 21 years. At 58, you have to have 22 years. It's calculated on a 100-hour formula, and that number is calculated on your hours of work. So if you worked, let's say you worked 10 years in the elevator trade, a rough estimate would be every year you work, you add $120 a month to your pension. So on a 10-year pension, it's about $1,200. 20 year, it's about 2,400. That's on, you're taking your week's holidays and your stats off and you haven't worked any overtime.
Based around the 40-hour work week approximately.
Yeah, so, you can kind of figure out from there, the longer you're in the trade, the bigger your pension and when you can afford to go. That's up to you.
God forbid you kick the bucket. That pension doesn't go to waste. That pension could go to your significant other.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. We offer a guarantee period and you choose it similar to a life insurance. The day you retire, you have to make the decision. So let's say you're a single guy and you have a niece and a nephew and you wanted to go somewhere. You can pick the 10-year guarantee period. And if you unfortunately passed away a year after retirement, the plan would continue to pay somebody for 9 more years. And it's from your retirement date. So if you chose the 10-year guaranteed period, somebody's getting paid for 10 years. So it could be your estate, it could be your neighbor. But yeah, if you're, traditional, you're married, the day you retire, by law in Alberta, your spouse is your beneficiary and you pass away, they get full pension for the guaranteed period. And then after the guaranteed period's over, it gets reduced to 2/3.
Regardless if it's with this specific trade in this local or any trade or any other local for that matter, what is something you would tell a new guy or a new woman getting into the trades? What is some knowledge or information you'd want to pass down to them?
First and foremost is leave your phone in your car. The way things are going nowadays, that's the biggest complaint we're hearing from our membership with new hires and trying to find good people to put on the job is that knee-jerk reaction when that vibrator, that beep happens. And it's just like, that's the world we're living in now. So it's like, leave it in the shack, leave it in your coat, leave it in your lunchbox. And with that, like Jeff mentioned, when the task is done and you turn around, you want to see that person engaged in what you're doing. You don't want to see them
Watching TikTok.
as soon as they have a down moment that they're checking social media or texting somebody or,
I think it's also safe to say it's not that phones are bad per se. Like if I came to you and you were my journeyman, I was like, hey man, I got some stuff going on today. I'm waiting for a phone call from maybe a doctor or a lawyer, stuff like that. Communicate that. But don't be fucking pulling out your phone and being like, hey man, can you pass me that wrench? Yeah, just hang on. I'm just wait.
Yeah.
Like, that shit would piss anyone off.
Yeah, especially when you have moving parts and any minute of the day you can lose a life or a limb. Having distractions is not acceptable. Besides that, it's attendance and being engaged and being ready for the next task. Also, what we didn't have when I started was the money management part of it. I always get reminded of a bumper sticker I saw, very relevant to Alberta. And it says, oh Lord, please let there be another oil boom. I promise not to piss this one away. Everybody should always be reminded of that and take advantage of what's in front of you all the time and make the most of it.